Hi, I'm Debbie Harbeck, and I'm a certified life coach working with women in midlife and through the menopause transition. So each week, I'll be sharing the latest information, inspiration, and generate some momentum so you can move forward and feel more in control of your changing midlife body and your life. Let's go. Hi, and welcome to episode 2 of the Midlife Momentum podcast. Today is a shorter episode, and its goal is to inspire you forward. So in last week's very first episode, I wanted to start with the basics, just defining what midlife and the menopause transition are all about. But today I want to talk about the fact that we're not talking enough about this. We need to talk more. So on that note, I think as women, I believe we should be able to talk about what we're going through to those around us, to our families, in the workplace, to other women, of course. Because honestly, this can be a rocky road for some of us some of the time. At the same time, I think it's important that workplaces and society begin to learn and understand what women in midlife are experiencing. We shouldn't have to hide or pretend that everything's okay and the same as every day when it's not. And there shouldn't be shame attached to what we're experiencing, which honestly we don't have a lot of control over. It's going to happen. So my mission with this podcast is kind of multifaceted. Number one is I do want to create awareness through information that I'll be sharing each week. 2, I want to bring women together to talk about these issues because we need to be transparent and we need to let go of the secrecy and the misinformation and the stigma around menopause and getting older as women. And number 3 would be I want to be able to support you by helping you manage your symptoms, by advocating for your health and self-care, by helping you reinvent yourself if that's what you want to do as you discover this like newfound freedom and creativity that come with being in midlife. So if I'm just talking for myself, I'm excited about this time in my life, but to be honest, I'm also a little scared. And I imagine maybe you share these mixed feelings to some extent too. I don't know exactly where this midlife ride is going to take me. I don't know how it's going to feel or how it's going to turn out. But the comfort I do have is that I know I have some control over it. And it starts with being informed and educated. If you're at all like me, all you may have known about menopause when you were younger is that your period ends and you may have some hot flashes. That's literally all I knew. And unfortunately, my mom passed away at 57 when I was 27, and I didn't really know anything about what she was going through. I saw the package of hormone pills on her dresser in her room. I can still see them clearly in my mind. And that's about the only clue I had that she was going through this transition. And when she was diagnosed with colon cancer, which was and is a preventable disease, I wondered if there were things she could have done to take better care of herself, or if menopause or these hormone pills were part of the problem. At the time, I didn't even know what questions to ask, and I wish I did. I wish I had known more, but I didn't. And the fact is, many of us don't know much about this time of life. Even medical doctors aren't given much training in menopause, which is unbelievable considering half the population over 45 is living through it or been through it. There's a lack of awareness, a lack of knowledge, and a lack of compassion for what this time is for women. And there are many reasons for that. One being that very little investment has been made on researching women's issues, especially menopause. I believe that's beginning to change, but research takes time. So for now, we're left with very little to go on. And then there's a stigma around the menopausal woman who is perceived as emotional and hormonal and may not be trusted to handle things. It's a perception that's unfortunate that a lot of people have this, and we have to be willing to unite and confront this misinformation. So I think there's no wonder that this time of life is fraught with fear and secrecy, that we don't want to tell people, especially our colleagues, that we're going through menopause, let alone discuss the specific issues we might be experiencing, like vaginal dryness or constipation or UTIs. But if we don't talk about it, it will never be normalized, and the future generations of women will continue to be minimized. So we need to start conversations to make change happen. And I'm starting this conversation in this podcast episode, and I'd love for you to share it with others who need to hear this. Now, of course, this conversation can't be just about the problems we're experiencing. We have to have some idea of solutions. And there are some solutions that we know can help us live better through menopause. And what's great about these solutions is that they're really up to us because they're lifestyle changes. We can make small lifestyle changes that can have a huge impact on how we're experiencing menopause physically and emotionally. We know that our food choices and eating impact how we go through this transition. We know that moving our bodies daily can make things better, not only physically, but also emotionally and mentally. We know that our bedtime routines, the times we go to bed and get up, and even consuming caffeine and alcohol affect our sleep. And we know that managing stress will help us feel calmer, more rested, and keep menopausal symptoms, including even belly fat, more in check. And beyond these changes, we can get help from others. We can get help from medical practitioners who do know about menopause and who can prescribe hormone therapy if that's what's needed. And we can get help from physiotherapists who specialize in pelvic health for common menopausal issues like painful sex and urinary incontinence. And beyond that, we can start initiating changes in our workplace, like some companies who have implemented menstrual and menopausal workplace policies that include working from home or creating a quiet and cool room to wait out a hot flush or ease your stress, and even paid leave due to menopause or menstrual symptoms. So starting these conversations, being open about our experiences, and beginning to take care of ourselves are the first steps in changing things for the better for ourselves and for the next generations of women. And as a coach, of course, I am also here to support your midlife and menopause journey, and I'm always available to talk when you're ready. So on that note, I just want to thank you for joining me today. And I do have a fresh new podcast ready for you next week where I will be diving into how to manage stress in midlife, which is near and dear to my heart. So have a wonderful week. Keep moving forward, and bye for now. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Midlife Momentum Podcast. If you want to learn more about working with me, come visit me at debbieharbeckcoaching.com. That's Debbie, I-E, Harbeck with a C, coaching.com. See you next week.